I'm not the guy you're taking home. Oh, I keep dancing on my own. Let's go, Phils! Let's go!
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like oh, this game he stink!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio on a special Wednesday night showing. And that's because we're all Phillies fans here, and we are waiting ever so anxiously for this series to wrap up, and we'll see. But as a courtesy to all you other Phillies fans out there, we moved the show from tomorrow to tonight so we can give you our Eagles preview while we enjoy the Phillies game 4 tonight and game 5 tomorrow. We are live on Twitter and YouTube and Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcast. So if you're listening to us live right now or on your commute, or if you are in the shower using our products from our sponsor, and that's Manscaped, we greatly appreciate your support. And remember, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at Manscaped. You'll notice right now it's only me and Jake. What's going on, bro? How are you?
Nothing. Not good. Good. Wasn't expecting to open the show full acapella, but good on you. I'm not mad at you. Appreciate
I kind of
it.
decided literally 10 seconds before. I'll just do this. I don't know how to usually top Pete when he does his freestyle, so I was like,
Fair enough.
let's go
Fair
with
enough.
that. Let's just go with that. But yeah, it's only us two for now, but the rest of the guys will be hopping on any minute now. They'll be joining us. We've got an abbreviated show. We're going to go about an hour or so, but we're here to talk your usual Eagles football and NFL football still and give you your Eagles and football fix. Our first half of the show, we're going to talk about NFL trade deadline. All the moves that happened. There were I can't remember an NFL trade deadline that was this crazy. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about what the Eagles did or didn't do, as you would more appropriately say, the moves that he didn't make yesterday. And we'll talk about whether or not that was a good decision or the wrong decision by Howie Roseman. And then to top off the show, we'll give you a preview and predictions of the Eagles-Texans game tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. But our first half of the show, it's brought to you by eXp Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, if you're looking for a change in career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. And it's also brought to you by FanUp, which is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. Our poll question tonight: the Eagles made the right decision to not trade for another running back. Agree or disagree? And our poll question is brought to you by All Campus, which is the home of A2D Rant Booth. All right, Jake. So, floor is yours to kick things off. Do you agree or disagree to the poll?
Did the Eagles make the right decision to trade or for another running back? To not trade for a running back, excuse me. I'm going to agree. I think it was the right decision just based on what probably the value was, and teams were kind of probably overvaluing their own players. And with the Cole Kareem, I know there was a bunch of teams that were rumored, including us, to be involved in the Kareem Hunt sweepstakes. So maybe the Browns got a little greedy there and were like, well, maybe not a fourth, maybe like a third. We're thinking a third for a guy who's on the last year of his contract. That's another thing you have to think of as well. I know a lot of people in our talk group, in the A2D talk group, were talking about Naeem Hines a little bit. I wouldn't have minded it, but it doesn't do anything for me. But it tells me a lot with this football team and how Howie Roseman and the Eagles look at themselves as a whole. They think they're fine with what they got, and so far, with an unblemished record, I mean, you can't really argue it. So, to the poll, I do agree that it was the right move to not get a running back because obviously, unlike the Rams, we actually care about our draft picks. So I'm going to agree to the poll.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to the poll as well. And I think everyone knows my affinity, my love for one Kareem Hunt. What's going on, Mr. Pete Evans? How are you?
What it do, what it is. We about to be game 4 in that ass on this bitch. Holla at me. 2 more after tonight. Hopefully 1 more. Tomorrow's going to be crazy either way.
Oh, by the way, guys, I bought my very first Philly shirt, and I'm wearing it very proudly today. I went with the powder blues. I just love the powder blue uniform, so I was like, "Oh, this shirt's dope."
So you didn't buy a shirt in 08?
Huh?
You didn't?
No,
buy a
I
shirt?
didn't actually. I didn't.
What in the hell?
I was in Florida actually when we won that championship, so like I couldn't. There was nowhere to go. I was in Disney World. I was actually at Disney World and Halloween Horror Nights for that trip, so I couldn't buy any merch. While we're in that World Series. But yeah, my first Philly shirt, I'm very proud of it. I like it. It's not red, but I love this color. So
powder blue's the best. I love powder blue.
Real quick.
So,
what's up, Frank? Good evening. Where is everyone? Pitch on Facebook, nigga. That's I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to do it. I don't know what happened. The man was there 1 minute and he was going the next.
And he was gone.
So the answer to my poll question, like I was saying, I agree to the poll. We all know that I wanted Kareem Hunt. I would have loved to have Kareem Hunt on, but I also don't mind not getting him if that's the route they want to go. Mm-hmm. And it's because I actually like. It feels like if I were to put a guess in it felt like 70-ish% of the Eagles fan base wanted to trade for a running back. Whereas for me, I was good with where we were. Like, I didn't mind at all because I always felt like we were good with the guys we have. So I would have loved Kareem Hunt because he's my guy. He's my favorite running back in the league still. And, of course, I'm going to love him being an Eagle. But at the same time, I have faith in Miles. I have faith in Trey Sermon, who hasn't gotten, any looks so far, but I honestly believe he will. I think he will. I have faith in Boston Scott to be a very reliable option for us, and I have faith in, Gainwell to continue to improve. So, like, I'm good with what we've got, and I said it last week that, even when Miles goes down, he's never been out for an extended period of time. He's never had a serious injury that has caused him to miss the whole year or like most of the year. It's always just been a couple games. So in those couple of games, do I have faith in the guys that we have to carry the workload in his absence? Yes, I do. I really do. Plus, with our offensive line, we're always going to be good enough in the run game and at that position. And, Mr. Wing says, why can't the Eagles give Trey Sermon some burn? We all ask that. I have full faith in Trey Sermon. I love Trey Sermon. I've loved him since the draft. It is puzzling because I want to see him get more work. But at the same time, I still wouldn't look too much into it just yet because you look at it, they like the guys that they have now. They obviously like Miles. They obviously like Boston Scott. They obviously like Gainwell for whatever reason. Like, we can agree with how much the Gainwell meter we're on, but we can't disagree on the fact that they do like Gainwell. So I think the fact that they like the 3 guys that they have playing now, I don't think that necessarily means they don't like Trey. I think it's the fact that they're comfortable with who they have, and they'll bring Trey along as they seem fit. So I wouldn't read too much into that, and I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the season, come playoff like December, January, that's when we're going to start to see more Trey Sermon. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I think he will get his looks at some point this season. But Pete, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with the poll? Did the Eagles make the right decision not trading for another running back?
No, I disagree to the poll vehemently.
Wow.
Vehemently. Because the reason everything you're saying about is Miles Sanders hasn't done this. He has
Miles Sanders?
Wow, when he has come down, or when he has gone down, he's come back. But the thing is, he's never been back to 100% once he does go down. That's the key thing. So you need somebody at 100% to be able to go. And for whatever reason, they don't trust Trey Sermon. They haven't used him at this point yet, maybe because it's past or what have you. But I disagree with the poll if they had a 4th-round pick. So I did a little research before on my way home, and we have 6 picks right now for this year's draft upcoming up. None of them are a 4th. You have 2 1s, a 2, a 3, no 4, 5, or 6th round picks, and only 2 7s. So with the draft capital that they had, we all were following. We all heard Kareem Hunt is going to take a 4th. It's going to take a 4th. So this is the thing. I think they could have got him for a 5th, but guess what? We didn't have one. We don't have one. So when you have 2 day 1 picks, 2 early day 2 picks. I mean, and that's it. And you have 2 day 3 picks. That's all you have. You're not working with a lot. Don't get me wrong. We're happy with the team at the current state. Do I wish they could have planned better? Yes. Do I wish they would have got? I mean, more importantly, if this poll question was, they make the right decision to not trade for another safety. 100%. I think everybody up here would have been disagreed to the poll. You know what I mean? Because they need a safety more than they need a running back. It's a luxury, but it's like with Miles, you're always waiting. That hand me somewhere. As soon as you said he's never going down for a long period of time, I went over here and I knocked on my desk.
Yes.
But the thing is, we see him now at 100%. Everything's coming together for him. 78 yards on 9 carries this past Sunday, 8.2 yards a carry. Beautiful, right? But he can't do it all on his own. You see what I'm saying? We're running more tight end screens than we are running back screens, if you notice that. And for whatever reason, Miles may not have the vision when it comes to the receiving. They're not using Gainwell as much. They're not using Boston Scott as much. I would love them to use Trey Sermon, but for whatever reason, they're not. Would it have been helpful? Yeah, it'd have been helpful. Especially this is the key thing. This is the key thing, right? I was watching Dan Orlovsky on ESPN this week, and he said the scariest teams on Monday at First Take. The Eagles are number 3. His number 1. What do you think the number 1 team in the league is the scariest that they're at full health that he picked? And I agree with
Bills.
I know at full Bills didn't even make
Niners.
The list. Yes.
Okay.
Niners.
Niners at full health with Debo, with CMC, with Kittle, with all the defensive players back. We don't beat that team. Without CMC, it's a flip of a coin. With CMC, it ain't happening, even with Jimmy G as a quarterback. And that defense.
You're talking about the Eagles? I'm just confused.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Eagles.
I think
you said the Eagles can't beat them without CMC?
No, if they didn't have CMC, with CMC now, I don't think we can beat them. If both teams are 100% healthy, I don't think we beat them.
I think we do. But
yeah,
to your point, I think that the Niners pose the biggest challenge to the Eagles. Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. You guys know I don't have to reiterate how I view the Niners team, and CMC only adds to that. So I absolutely agree. They're our biggest challenge, but I'm not going to say up here confidently that I wouldn't favor us. I would favor us still.
Oh, we would be favored. We would be favored solely off the record in the home field. But I'm just saying, in my heart of hearts, their best game versus our best game, it's more than a flip of a coin. If you could take a coin and stand that bitch right in the middle, that's where I'm at.
I get it. Yeah, and it's very close. I think that the trump card though, look at I can't like if I were to ask this last year, it'd be different answers. But look at who we have at quarterback. I think that makes a huge difference because Hurts has made a ginormous leap forward this year, whereas Jimmy G is who we all say he is. So that it's a flip of a coin with Jimmy G, what type of player you're going to get, what kind of performance. And even when Jimmy G's at his best, he is always susceptible for at least one major turnover in even his best games. So, like, I think that we are the type of defense that can wreak havoc on Jimmy G with our pass rush and with how we confuse, quarterbacks in our secondary and the coverages that we have. We have the personnel to match up against who they have. Who they have from Debo to Ayuk to Kittle to CMC. We have the personnel to match up against them pretty well. So I think that's what gives the edge to the Eagles, in my opinion, when they're at the best. But I hear what you're saying on that part. And the last thing I want to rebuttal to before I have Nate go is you say that Sanders, if he gets hurt, he doesn't come back 100%. That I don't agree with that. I think that's incorrect. You look last year, even when he came back, that's when he had 2 straight 100-yard rushing games. So it's not, you can't say, oh, like he gets hurt and then he's never the same. Like that hasn't been true throughout his career. Even in his rookie year when he got hurt, he came back and had great games afterwards. So I don't agree with that. I think that's incorrect. So Nate, what do you say? Did the Eagles make the right decision to not trade for a running back?
I'm gonna disagree. I think they should have made a trade. You can't. I think if there was a player out there to be had in the conversations of a hunt, who else was rumored to be there?
Jamal Williams.
I never believed Williams though. He's a corner piece of what Detroit is. Who was the other one? The third one?
I heard like people were talking about Montgomery, Damian Harris, Naheem Hines. I
thought there was somebody. I mean, obviously we try to get for CMC because he's a premium player, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that makes all the sense in the world. Anywhere you can, I think they've said it every time. They're going to look at everything, and if they can upgrade a position, regardless of the position, they'll do that. And I think the running back, because I think there's a big drop off if Sanders doesn't play. As much as I give Sanders shit and talk much about Sanders, if he's not in the lineup, there's a big drop off in our run game for sure. We don't have the explosive running back anymore. Now we don't know what Sermon is. We don't know why he's not playing. We don't know if he's just getting to the playbook. We don't know what that is. We thought that might have shorted up, but it's looking like possibly that it hasn't, from what we can tell. So I think it was a mistake because it's Super Bowl or nothing at this point for us. Now, I mean, not saying that we're going to win the Super Bowl, but getting to the Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or nothing. Now, obviously, if you get there, you got to win the shit, right? Yep. You know what I mean? Like, let's win it all. But it's Super Bowl or nothing, and I think you have to make moves to get there and to do that. And in the playoffs, I say it all the time, getting into those late games, those late winter cold games, defense and be able to run the ball wins you games. It always has. Yep. So having multiple running backs like we have waves of pass rushers would only help us. So I think it was a bad move not to try to bring some more talent in. Only if it was more talent than you already have. Adding, like you said, I think Chuck, you said it not too long ago. Getting Hines was not really a good move. It's more lateral. It's not like pushing it up. Yep. If it was a Hunt, if it was a CMC, if it was one of those bell cow guys that if Sanders ever was to go down, you don't really drop off. If not, it actually improved your room. Then I think that was the right move to do.
That's fair. And I'm not going to disagree to that point because, I said at the top of the show, I've wanted Hunt, so I don't. I don't disagree with that.
So, question for you though. So, obviously, we see, like I said, I went through the picks, the 2 1s, a 3, the 2 1s, a second, and a third, and 2 7s. So obviously the 4th round pick they gave up for Robert Quinn.
Yeah, which is a lot if you think about it. That's a move. The move for Quinn was a Super Bowl move to me because he's a 32, 33-year-old defensive lineman, right? Yeah. So you're shoring up what you know you need. It's pass rush. You're gonna have to get pass rush, and we've seen it already. And people, you know, I talk smack about Davis at times that he's a one-trick pony. He can only do one thing. But you see how much our pass rush improved when Hargraves was in there, right? It's just that you need waves of running backs, you need waves of pass rushers once you get to the end. They paid a lot for Quinn. That's a lot for Quinn.
Yes, I was going to say. So with that being said, do you think because they could have been bidding against themselves to give him a 4? Was a 4 too much? Would you rather have that 4, give up a 7th, and maybe because they really didn't have anything else to give up, and rather use that 4 to get Hunt and maybe try it?
No.
I think Quinn was the right move. I think it was the right compensation. I mean, if I don't know if you guys were watching him well, but man, that dude can bend.
He really
around the goddamn corner, he was at his feet every time, and that's just he's a pure pass rusher. He don't know the defense yet. It's just like line up and go get the pass, go get the rusher. So I love the Quinn move. Because, like I said, I think I said it before. Like I think he instantly becomes your best pass rusher, and I think it showed. You know what I mean? I really do. And you're going to use him sparingly. He's not going to be a starter. If you need him to be a starter, he can. Very Chris Long like in that move. And you saw what Chris Long did for this team. So that's a veteran guy. He's respected around the league, and he has eye popping, performances before. So, like I said. I love the move. If you ask me who I take, Hunt or Quinn, I'm taking Quinn.
Yeah, me too.
I'm taking Quinn all day.
Like Caitlin Taylor says, he made our move with Quinn. Like it was just a few days before, so that was our trade deadline move. I wonder if he had made it on Monday, would the sentiment of how he didn't pull the trigger on anything, would that still be there? So he made our move with Quinn. We just made it a few days early. 703 says, I don't care what y'all say. We're not they not better with Jimmy G throwing the ball. And he also says here, why do we need another running back if we have a QB like Jalen? And he's not wrong, because people keep talking about we need a power back. Well, Jalen Hurts has been our power back in short yardage. We use him. Now I know that ideally you don't want Jalen Hurts running all the time. You don't want him taking on that punishment, because obviously, obvious statement here, we need him healthy. But the element of a power run game in short yardage, it's been there still because we have Jalen, and no one can stop him. And what I loved from this past game against the Steelers is now they're adding wrinkles. You saw that fake QB sneak on what was it? It was a 3rd or 4th down, where they pitch it to Miles. So,
yeah.
Adding that wrinkle makes them more dangerous. So I mean, teams are trying so hard to stop, that QB sneak and stop Jalen Hurts as a runner, that it still is opening stuff up for everyone else. So that's an element to our run game that's going to be there all year. Paul Mancini says the same thing. QB Hurts is a short yardage big back that fans clamor for, and he is. Public Enemy says no. Public Enemy number 1 says it's not so much running back as its own line. Every running back looks good behind this line. It's just Sanders a little bit more dynamic. Paul says, why trade draft assets for a bell cow running back when you have Sanders? Not enough carries to go around for a CMC/Kamara/Hunt type of running back. And then and Paul says also Quinn should help Sweat in his pass rushing techniques. And I'm sure he will. Sweat is already technique-wise and with pass rushing moves, Sweat is already like 100 times better than what it was his rookie year. And I'm sure Quinn will only add and help not only Sweat, but Reddick too, possibly. So
real quick before you continue, the thing is, to go back to Public Enemies, when whatever one was accused about there's not enough carries to go around. We're not saying that our poll question isn't from the fact that this is what our eyes see. This is what they've been telling us for weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks they've been in on CMC. They've been in on Kamara. They've been in on Hunt. There's something that they see that they're not happy with their running back room. Whatever it is, we don't know what that is. The Quinn, the defensive end, cool. I'm with it. I love it. All right. But when you tell me, right, that I hear that you're in on every running back, and
I disagree, bro.
No, hold on. Let me finish. And the reason why I say that is because we haven't seen through 7 games a capable backup to Sanders in the way that they've been used. So when they're presenting to you, okay, we're not giving enough carries, or we're not spelling Sanders, and we're looking for other running backs. There's something in that running back room that they're not seeing. Or guess what? We're gonna have to do at the end of this year. You're gonna have to pay Miles. He gonna earn every cent if he continues this up, and you gotta pay. So that's what I'm saying. So just for the fam out there, we're saying why we need this, why we need that. This is the team and the people close to the team telling you they were looking for upgrades at the running back position or additions too. That's all I'm saying.
But all those three guys that you named, Miles would be the backup to them. You get what I'm saying? I don't think that's a reflection of the running back room. I think that's a reflection that there's an elite talent available. Right? Like everybody you name is a RB1 on every team outside of maybe Henry and Taylor. Right? And you can question that because the other guys give you so much more than what they don't, because those are pure runners.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was something with the running back room. I just think, I mean, CMC was a haul, but if you could got Kamara for like a 3rd round pick or something, like what are we talking about here? It's Kamara.
Oh, that for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think I said this on last show. It's Sanders on steroids. You know what I mean? That's what he is. I mean, we just saw what he did last game with nobody on that team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? 10 catches, 100 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns, 70 yards.
We'll see what he does.
Problem. Could you imagine him in this offense, bro?
I think
imagine Kamara in this offense.
A whole dog and pony show for Kamara to try to up the value to get him traded. I think he knew that. I think the Saints knew that too, and it just didn't happen. They didn't get what they wanted.
But he's worth a one.
He is for sure.
He's worth I know he's got the legal issue coming, but he's still worth a one. Without a doubt, you're not going to find Kamaras in the draft. They just don't come like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
If Sanders would have went down at some point and maybe Sunday, not wishing on him, I think they would have gave up a 2 for Kamara. You would have had to do something.
He's worth it. He would have been worth it too.
Or a 3 for Hunt.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that what Paul says here, he says that he doesn't believe anything that the media says. I think that I'll put it this way.
100%. I can tell him. My sources isn't the media. They were in on the running back. My source has nothing to do with the media.
I think Howie though is a type where he's always going to do at least due diligence on any big name. Any big name that becomes available, he's going to check in. So if he makes a call, you're going to have a report or some kind of source saying, "Oh, Howie was calling about so and so." Well, I think that's just how Howie is. Whenever there's a big name, a significant name, no matter any position, it's almost always the Eagles are in that discussion. They're in there, they're rumored, because I think that's just Howie's nature. That's part of why he's so good at trading, is because he's always finding out, like, hey, like, what's this going to cost? Oh, it's not going to cost much. Then I'll freaking take it. You know what I mean? So I think that there is warrant to everything that everyone has said so far. I think that what Nate said, legit, like, when there's an elite name, a top name at running back or at any position, you're going to be interested. I think also that, would they have been opposed to upgrading the room overall? I think so too. Like, why not? If you're going all in, then you're going to want to upgrade any part. But I think also there is a part of it where it's like they didn't pull the trigger of a 3rd for Hunt or a 3rd for Kamara. Maybe that's a sign that while they would have loved to add them, they have their limits, and they're not going to be like. I think Jake, you said it too. Like, we value draft picks too, so we're not going to be like the Rams where we're going to give up valuable assets to go all in now, where it could be detrimental to our future building, because the Rams want it, but they're paying for it now. We want it both ways, and right now it looks like we can get it both ways. We might have a Super Bowl contending team right now, but still be in position to draft well, be positioned to get a good haul still next year. And if you give up a round 2 or round 3 pick, that's not the case anymore. So, and another thing of this, as much as I wanted Hunt, like, you trade for Hunt, he's coming with a price tag. You have to
pay him. Yeah.
You have to pay him. So would I have been fine with it? Yes, but I'm also biased. Objectively, are we paying any running back, no matter how good they are we paying them money, considering how many other pending free agents we have coming up, with especially Jalen Hurts getting that big contract? Are we paying that type of money? That's another factor in why maybe we didn't trade for Hunt, is because, hey, we know that wherever he's going to go, he's going to want money. So that might not just have been a viable option to have, to trade for him. And that's fine. To me, that's absolutely fine.
Fair enough.
Rebuttals. Okay, cool. Samuel T says, if CMC was our back, he'd probably be a back for like 3 to 4 games to then start. A backup. He meant backup. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, at the same time, and this was my concern with getting CMC, with getting Kamara, and getting Hines. We don't pass to our running backs. So, like, a dual threat running back, would they have the same value here? I don't know. Like, I have my concerns about that. We need our running backs as running threats because of the type of offense we have with Jalen Hurts. So that's where I was with it. Paul says how I was not going to upset the locker room by trading for a big name running back or offensive player.
I don't think there's nothing that can upset this locker room.
Not in this locker room.
The leaders in this locker room, I think it's better than 2017, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
No, Sandals would got his butt hurt.
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying,
he would have been tight.
But the biggest leader in that room right now, you could take the look of leadership and what Wentz never could do. You can never look at the quarterback as a leader. And right now, you can look at Hurts as a leader, as if not the supreme leader in that locker room. And he's leading by example because he's getting better week in and week out. You know what I mean? So I think it's self-policing right now in that locker room.
Mr. Wing says last year they did pass the backs. This year, not so much. I think also last year you were talking about an offense that was still trying to find itself. I mean, Sirianni and the coaching staff didn't really figure things out till what week was that? Week 8? What was it at the Raiders game? So that could have been it. Todd Womack says, I think Howie's giving Miles a chance, and that could be it. No matter what you think about Miles, or anything anybody thinks about Miles, they really like Miles in that organization. Do they like him enough to give him an extension? I don't know. But as long as he's there, they like Miles a lot. They like Miles, or else they wouldn't have drafted him. They wouldn't have stuck with him this long. So they do like Miles. So I think there is warrant to that. Slip-in says, last year we didn't have many wide receivers. That could have been why we passed to the running back so much. So that's a very good point. We're about halfway through. Let's talk about the NFL trade deadline as a whole. We talk about running backs, right? And I want to use that as a segue into NFL trade deadline and this specific trade, which is one of the last trades that was made yesterday. Nate, you mentioned how in the playoffs it's defense and the running game that really gets you, helps your team win the championship, right?
Always.
I've been saying
formula never fails.
I've been saying for how long that the Buffalo Bills need a running back, right? They need an actual running back, like a running back that can carry a workload to complement this already deadly passing attack. So who do they go out and trade for? They trade for Nyheim Hines. When they already have a rotational type of back in Devin Singletary, and they have a scat back that they drafted in the second round.
And they gave up Zach Moss.
They gave up Zach Moss. Literally. The only big back on the team. They gave him up, and they drafted James Cook in the second round. I think the Bills are still the favorite to win the Super Bowl, but out of all the moves made yesterday, that one was the most head scratching one to me because I just don't get it. That's overkill. The same type of running back you already have on the roster. That's what you trade for. Like I thought they would have been in for Hunt or been in on one of the bigger guys. You know what I mean? Like go get Hunt or go get I don't know, like one of the other carriers, like even if Hunt's not available, Dearness Johnson, or get someone who can tote the rock for 15 times a game. But they didn't get it, so I don't know. That was the biggest head scratcher to me yesterday, and I just don't get it. I don't know what you guys think about that, or any other any other trades that
that trade was stupid. It was idiotic.
Yeah,
I think the Eagles kind of drove that price up. I mean, for the Eagles, it's the kind of I would have gave a 7th up for Zach Moss any day of the week. You know, what I mean, it's a different option, a bigger bet. But to me, the winner of the day, the winner of the whole trade period, to me, is the Miami Dolphins. Hands down.
Son of a bitch, that was mine.
Hands down. You get the 3 first-round picks from San Fran, and you turn all that shit into Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb. I forget Jalen Waddle. You turn all those picks into that, and it's like, bro. Now, I mean, honestly, I don't know if the Bills going to win the East, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's true. And
Miami's scary.
Remember, the Dolphins traded also for Jeff Wilson, so they have another running back who is familiar with that system.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good pickup for them.
Very
good. And it didn't cost them a lot of capital. I mean, they're scary, man. And now they can get down it. Bradley Chubb gives them that flexibility on defense. Emmanuel Ogbah, Charles Harris. I mean, their linebackers are still a little suspect, but we forget you still got Xavier Howard. I think he may be get back healthy. You still got Byron Jones out there. They got a decent safety too. Why is the name escaping me?
The safety?
It was a safety that we liked last year that they drafted.
Oh, yeah. I forget what the hell his name is.
Is he playing?
Yeah, it's on the top of my head. I'm about to find out, and it's going to drive me crazy that it.
But nevertheless, I mean, they just have flexibility. Javon Holland, yeah. Yes. The kid from Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, they got talent all across the board, and they did it the right way. They I don't say the right way. They did it in a smart way to where they didn't limit themselves. I mean, and they had the cap room to pay Bradley Chubb when he gets due. I like the Jeff Wilson. I mean, he's going right back with Mike McDaniel, who had him last year in San Francisco. It's just certain things. It's just I don't know why teams do it. Teams just feel comfortable. I don't know if they feel like they owed it to him or what have you, but. I mean, if the Dolphins was in the NFC, I don't think they give them Jeff Wilson like that. You know what I mean? Because that's somebody you can see eventually. But I love what the Dolphins did. I love it. I kind of like what the Bears did. I'm surprised the Packers didn't do anything.
You like what the Bears did?
By getting Claypool? Yeah. I mean,
they gave up a lot for Claypool.
They did, because the Packers were in on him too, so they had to.
Okay.
The Packers are in on Claypool too, so they had to give up a lot, but they also got a lot. They got the 4 from us. They got whatever they got for Roquan Smith from Baltimore, which that's another one I love as well. Yeah. So they realized like, hey, we need to get rid of this. They didn't want to pay Roquan anyway because they didn't give him a deal. They had him on a franchise tag, if I'm not mistaken, or they didn't exercise the 5th-year option. So that was 2 people that they moved on from. They got assets back, and now they got their quarterback, who has shown promise the last 3 or 4 weeks against the tougher defenses, a weapon. And now this is the thing we talked about, Chucks. Claypool got a nut up. Claypool got to play up motivation now. Claypool, his first year, remember that year? It was him and Travis Fulgham going back and forth in Three River Stadium, Heinz Field, whatever you want to call it. When Carson Wentz was playing against the Steelers, and Claypool had 4 touchdowns against the Eagles that day. That Claypool ain't the same ever since Deontay Johnson had his emergence, but really this year, ever since George Pickens came on the field.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's another player. Now it's him and Mooney. That's a good Thunder.
Yeah, 1-2
punch. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good spot for him. I'm trying to think if there's other trades I'm missing.
Yeah, there's a TJ Hawkinson trade. TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings was
another really good move.
That was a good move.
That's shocking too.
That's shocking.
Well, I didn't know Smith was hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't know he
They
was
had to
hurt,
put him on IR.
but that's a hell of a trade.
And he's
That's
only in
good
his
trade.
third year, right? Third year?
Third or fourth. Can't be.
Yeah, I think he's got to get paid soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a hell of a trade for them. And I think what's his name? Thielen got hurt too a little bit. He got banged up a little bit too.
Is
So
it Jalen Reagor time over in Minnesota?
Well, no, I think Osborne to take over the 2 role, the second, and then Jalen may slide into the 3.
This one was I love this trade too, the Calvin Ridley trade.
Yeah,
that was a big trade.
That was
How funny is that with him? He
Yeah.
got suspended because of the bet on the Jags,
yeah.
and then he goes to the Jags. That is great.
Hilarious. That is so hilarious. Now, someone pointed this out. It's a good point. Like, they never said, the league never came out and said when Ridley's suspension ends. We all they said was that it's at least a year. So Ridley has to file for reinstatement after this season, and then we'll see when he plays. Like, there's a chance he might not play next year. I mean, I'd be surprised, but there is a chance he doesn't play next year. So, is there concern? Is there risk? Because remember, Ridley barely played in 2021. He played 5 games.
Something like that, yeah.
Talking about like most of 2021, all of 2022, potentially 2023. Like, it's a long time not playing football. But if he does get reinstated next year, and he's the guy that we still saw in 2020, man, you got your wide receiver 1 for Trevor Lawrence right there. For a pretty decent deal. I mean,
and him and Christian Kirk is not bad, but Marvin Jones or Zay Jones is a third.
Yeah.
And one thing you don't lose, you just don't lose the ability to run routes like Ridley did. Ridley wasn't the fastest, wasn't the biggest, but he created separation with his route running.
Yep, absolutely. So I really like that trade. Let's see what else. I didn't know if I'm just going down the list on NFL.com. Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Another one.
Speed kills.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Speed kills.
Speed kills. Yeah,
and they're a team that they always take on these troubled players. with character.
Andy, man.
That's just Andy.
Rehabilitates them. So it's a really good fit, and that's just another weapon for Mahomes. We talked about the Jeff Wilson trade, Nyheim Hines trade, James Robinson. I think that was weeks ago. So we talked a couple weeks ago already. I think so. We
that was last week, last week,
right?
Yeah.
So that's another big one for the Jets. They're trying to stay competitive even with Breece Hall out, and I can't blame them.
No.
So Paul says Jaguars acquiring Calvin really made little sense to me. I think it made a lot of sense to me.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes great sense.
Because you need weapon. And I mean, if he's a wide receiver 1, if he comes back and is that same talent, you gave up a conditional second. And I think the
he is a 1.
Were pretty volatile from what I read. I think it can go from a second all the way down to a 5th or something like that. I got
something crazy. It's
real
real
complex.
complex.
That can get up to a 2 or
up to a 2.
Yeah, if you think about Kurt, him and Jones, that's a decent young receiving core.
Well, I mean, if you just look at history too, even recent history, you look at Tua, you get him a shitload of weapons. Look what happened to Jalen Hurts. You give him a shitload of weapons.
You gotta give him weapons. You gotta make
look what happens.
Yeah, you look at this offense. You got Travis Etienne, you got Ridley, Kurt, Jones, you got Lawrence, you got Ingram at tight end. You got a nice
Ingram has a resurgence this year too.
Yeah, you got a nice little offense brewing there. And they just need Lawrence to push forward. If Lawrence can push forward, the Jack, because their defense is solid.
Yep.
Yes.
Their defense is solid, and they suck this year, so they're going to get a high pick again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe shore up that offensive line, but I mean they got Robinson. I think they got Brandon Schaefer from Washington, the guard.
Brandon Sheriff.
Sheriff. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sheriff. I don't know what the other
didn't
tackle
they have
is.
the dude from Alabama too? Cam Robinson.
Yeah, that's the left tackle.
What you said, yeah.
Yeah. So
Their
I
line
mean,
is- their line is good.
they got some stars. They got they got some star power. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their
Got some
line is
talent.
good. I like their line. Their line is good. Their offensive
So
line.
Paul Mancini says by 2023, Calvin Ridley will be almost 2 years removed from competitive football. He was never sold on Ridley. Like, listen, if I don't know how you were never sold. The bitch was killing.
He's a fantastic talent.
You go look at his
fantastic
stats in 2020.
Oh, he's a great receiver.
Insert Calvin Ridley if with the Eagles if he doesn't do the stupid shit and AJ Brown's not here.
Oh,
but they were trading for Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. And I'm much happier that didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. I'll take
I'm
Brown
much
all day.
happier right now.
Yeah, I'll take about Brown all day. But I'm not mad. I wouldn't be mad at Ridley.
Yeah,
right.
No,
you know what I mean? I wouldn't be mad at Ridley at all. But I mean, every year he progressed pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at his numbers now. I mean, he came in the league
he
64.
made Julio expendable. Like
yeah, he had 10. I mean, he's a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
10, 7, and 9 in his first 3 years. That's
crazy.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, Ridley's legit.
Yeah, I agree.
I get it. A second round for a wide receiver 1 on your team. Yeah, I'd take that risk. I'd absolutely take that risk. I think that we covered pretty much every single trade. I mean, it was hectic. I remember yesterday when I was going through my phone, I was out, but I told Mary, I was like, hey, NFL trade deadlines today. So if I'm glued to my phone, you can't blame me. And so, like, we're sitting down at the mall, and I'm just like, I'm not even eating at this point. I'm like going, oh my god, and she's like, the trade deadline is, and I'm like, yeah, it's insane. Like, there's every 5 minutes there's a new trade coming in. It's insane. It's nuts. So, really was why Paul says really was why Julio Jones was commanding double coverage, leaving Calvin Ridley versus CB2 and less than 3 years ago.
Did anyone tell him like how many games Julio Jones missed in his last 2 years?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like his last couple years in Atlanta, he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
He literally wasn't even there.
Even when Ridley blew up, like Julio wasn't commanding as many double teams as people think.
No,
it really wasn't. Like, were there some? Yes, but like it wasn't as many people think. Defense is starting to shade toward Ridley, and that still didn't stop him. So, like, because Julio was there doesn't mean that Calvin wasn't playing like a wide receiver 1. He was still balling. So, yeah, I don't know. We disagree respectfully there with you, Paul. Mr. Wing says the league is wide open right now, and teams are trying to get an edge because the parity is giving everyone hope, and it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. It's going to be interesting to see where they go moving forward with these new names, new places. I'm excited for the Dolphins. I'm excited for the Bears to see how Fields goes now with his new weapons. I think Paul did say that like Fields is developing similar to what Hurts did last year, and you are starting to see it. Fields was horrible at the beginning of the year, but now Fields is starting to get that rhythm, get that confidence going, and they started running him more. So that makes a lot of sense. Like, start using his legs. He's one of the most talented QB runners in the game, one of the athletic QBs in the game. Start using that athleticism. So, he's starting to play better. I'm very invested in see what they do going forward. Anything else league wide before we get into preview and predictions for tomorrow's game?
League wide. Well, Snyder might sell the Commander, so that's one thing. He might sell the Commander, so
he's going to.
Yeah,
he will eventually, and I'm sad because it means the Commanders might actually get a respectable owner, and they might turn into a good franchise.
Too much pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
I thought they were trying to get him out of it and give it to his wife.
I know Jim Irsay suggested that Dan Snyder sells it, and I just find it funny. After the Colts game, he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna sell the team. But they haven't said whether it's a minority stake or it might be the whole entire thing.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
I just think they need a different face. He can't be the face of the organization.
I completely agree.
Yeah, true. All right, so let's get into our preview. Before we do, Mr. Pete Evans, can you tell us who it's brought to us by?
So it's brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. It's not in the handle, but you can see specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal. He is our doc, so make him yours. Cherry Hill and Burlington locations. Specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
Yep. Real quick, Paul, I just want to touch on this. Paul says really quick on his team, coaches and teammates and fans last year, not a fan. Mr. Wing with the rebuttal, Ridley had mental health issues. You know, I can make a decision on him quitting or not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say he quit.
Yeah. So just wanted to touch on that. Eagles-Texans. It is Nico Collins has already been ruled out. And Brandon Cooks might not play.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
What's the line? The line was like 14 already, 13.
It's 14 now. Yeah,
it's 14. I saw it opened at like 13, and now it's 14.
So make money. 14. The line is 14. Are they going to cover?
14 is a lot of points, man. It's a lot of points. I would definitely tease them down, get them in a 10-point teaser. There's something called a super teaser, as well. Which is actually a 13-point teaser. It's a 4-team, 13-point teaser. So I don't mind first half. I think first half makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. I think they give a little bit more fight. The last 4 games. No, not last. Yeah, actually, yeah. The last 4 games were all trap games, right? The Jags was a trap game. The Cardinals was a trap game. The Cowboys, they're going to lose. The Steelers, don't worry, this could be a trap game. The game that nobody's worried about is the game that I'm saying is the one you should be a little bit where they're going to be off. They're not going to be up for this game. They just got off a nice win. Now they got to go handle business, you know what I mean, in Houston. And then that brings tones of, and it's obviously the Phillies too as well. So there's going to be a lot. There could be a lot going on for this Thursday game. There could be a lot of distractions, and you can let the Texans hang around. Are they going to win? Absolutely. Do I expect a double-digit win? Absolutely.
Do they cover though? Maybe.
It's hard for me to bet 14 points. It's a lot of points. It's just a lot of points. Yeah, just any time. So
it could be garbage time by the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, like they could be up by 3 scores, and then a late score they go for 2. Yeah. You know what I mean, at the end there. But that is pretty telling about if those guys that you said are out. Like if Cooks is questionable and he's out, Nico Collins out. I love first quarter. I love first half all day, because what that tells me what the team's going to do. Let's get in and get out of here, and let's go watch the Phillies win a World Series. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's where their head is at. Get in, get out, stay healthy, and drown them. Like literally drown them, and then get out of there. I think if you're looking for some fantasy plays, big Miles Sanders game for me.
Yes, I was just going to go there. Yep.
Yeah, big. I could see Miles getting a lot of work, and I could see Gainwell getting work. Right. Yeah. I think one of the backup running backs score.
Yeah. Real quick, the Texans defense, they're giving up 5.6 yards a carry, which is 31st in the league. So, and we saw what Derrick Henry did to them last week. So.
The pass defense is pretty solid, like Jamarcus Monroe states here.
Because you talk about Lovie Smith, he is a stubborn cover 2 type of coach. So he's going to play cover 2. That means he's going to be light in the box all game long. And if they were reluctant to put more than 7 in the box against Derrick Henry, they sure as hell aren't going to put more than 7 in the box against this offense. They're going to stick with their defense, and it might not be a huge game through the air because of the talent they have in the secondary, but it's one of those things where stats can lie, because even though the stats say that the Texans have a good pass defense, that also could be the case because teams choose to run on them. Therefore, the passing statistics are going to be low. So, run on them all day. Run them up. On the other side, the only thing that scares me, especially with Nico out and Cooks especially being out, the only thing that scares me, or I'd be worried on, is obviously the rookie running back, Dameon Pierce. And I'm going to have a short film breakdown video out tomorrow on A2D socials on Dameon Pierce and how he's been playing. I did a quick cut-ups of his game against the Jaguars and man, like that. He is a bowling ball. He is tough to tackle, and he's got quicks too. So he is the one guy on offense that you need to focus on. You need to have your sights on, and you need to make sure the tackling, which has been suspect in different games for us this year, you need to make sure your tackling is on point, because if it's not, this guy's going to burn you. So he's the one guy I'd focus on that side of the ball. But at the same time, I think that our defense will take care of business. I think the offense will take care of business, obviously. I don't see how one thing I was made aware of this. It's such a weird stat, or it was such a weird thing. Davis Mills is one of the worst quarterbacks statistically when he's not pressured. He is a middle of the
Wait.
So when he has to make
one more time. I don't think I heard you. One more time,
please.
please.
Not pressured. He is ranked statistically as one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. But when he is pressured, he's a middle of the road quarterback. It's the weirdest thing. So, Mr. Jonathan Gannon, just don't pressure him. Don't send any blitzes.
So this is a dream scenario for Jonathan Gannon then. Not send pressure.
Robert Quinn should have a first sack. I want to see what the props is on that, but I think it does help that they just played a team that also plays Tampa too, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think the pass, it's a little bit different. I mean, obviously, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is a good safety, but I think the corners of Houston are better, and they got Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley. So
he's not up there.
Who? Quinn. Wow.
But Josh Sweat is interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
He's plus 225.
Okay, just for one sack.
For one sack, yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
I don't know who it is on Houston, but they always throw to the tight ends. Always. They like tight ends. If you were playing fantasy football and you just streamed Houston tight ends, you'd be okay.
Yep.
I forget. I know one of them. One of them reminds me of Mo Alley Cox, but I know Mo Alley Cox is on Indy. But he looks like Mo Alley Cox because he has the long braids.
Is it?
I can't think of the name.
My God, I had him last year in fantasy too, as like a backup tight end. Now it's gonna bother me that I don't.
Jordan Akins.
Yeah.
So I mean, they always do it, but I mean, like Nate said, it's a lot of different extenuating circumstances, a lot of stuff going around. But Philly, if this game was home, I think I may feel better with the cover. They shouldn't lose this game no matter where it's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's time for Philly. It's time for Philly to fuck up Houston on two fronts.
Let's
home
do it.
Home and away.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here so we can watch these Fighting Phils about to pitch off. Or is that I'm gonna use that as this will be my term. Pitch off.
First pitch.
First pitch.
First pitch.
For our score predictions, if you're listening, check them out on A2D's socials. We're gonna have our score predictions up on, I think, tomorrow, right? Frank's putting up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll have our score predictions. But right now, let's go watch the Phils, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Wednesday night special for Birds of a Feather. Appreciate the support. Now, go watch the Phils. We will have. I think they'll be on later tonight too. The other A2D Wednesday. So if you need some live reactions, I'm not 100% sure.
They're gonna do.
I think they're doing post game.
Post
game reactions.
Post game reaction. Go to that. We'll be on later on tonight. And then tomorrow, A2D Football Thursdays, Marcus will still be on 7 p.m. as a preview to the Eagles-Texans game. Other than that, guys, you will not see me for several weeks. Starting next week, I will be on vacation in Florida up until the next time I'll be on is December, beginning of December. So I will not see you guys for a few weeks. So to all the listeners, enjoy the Phillies, enjoy the Eagles for the next month. I'll miss you guys, and I'll be back in a few. But these guys, I have full confidence will hold it down. With me not here. But anything else before we head out?
Yeah, let me add. I was trying to put a play together real quick. Got to bet. I bet. If you didn't follow me on Money Pod, I already dropped the I've been killing it with these props on World Series.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Killing it. Like I don't know if you'll be following, but I'm like 3-0, 4-1, 3-1. Like y'all gotta get with me with these props because I'll be on point. But I got 2 props for the game tomorrow. If you can get it in early or get us out of here. I like the Josh Sweat over a sack for plus 225. And then if I can find it, I got I like a sleeper here, plus 600. Give me Pascal to score a touchdown.
Ooh, another one.
Okay.
Yeah, and a garbage game. You know, I think I
could have Minshew in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see this on a. We call this Poppy Store money. That's the corner store. You go ahead and put a little $20 on there, and for 600 plus 600. I was looking for Sermon, but they do have Sermon. Sermon's plus 850.
Oh, if he's active, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, if he's active, I like that. I like that too. It's gonna be an ass whooping. So, I feel I see other players getting some work in.
Yep.
So let's go Fightins. There's no crying in baseball.
Let's just hope the Phillies win tonight, and then Thursday's going to be
crazy.
Thursday's going to be an issue. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's going to be insane.
Tomorrow's going to be. If we win tonight, tomorrow's going to be nuts.
Insane.
Absolutely insane.
Insane.
All day.
All right, fellas. For myself,
boys.
For Pete this way. Jake, I'm Mr. Nate Money Moss. We will see you later. Go Phils, go Eagles. God bless. Peace out.
Let's go.